Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
Warning: The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised.
April 27th, 2018.
And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, author of Liberalism is a Mental Disorder, Trump's War, and God, Faith, and Reason, Michael Savage.
It's the Savage Nation. Lou Pate sitting in for Dr. Savage. He will be back on Monday. And if you want to see some great pictures and read some great stories about his trip to Washington, D.C. this week, while getting all your headlines, go to michaelsavage.com. But in the meantime, I encourage you to take part in the conversation here. 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Again, I mentioned I will continue taking your calls on North Korea because it's amazing that this historic day is upon us. Kim Jong-un shaking hands in the DMZ with Moon Jae-in. It's a step in the right direction. Do you trust Kim Jong-un? I don't, just based on his history, but his most recent history where he said he stopped testing his missiles, and, he really didn't. They had a big explosion there, and they weren't able to test their missiles anymore. So I don't think Moon Jae-in, I don't think Donald Trump are stupid, but will Trump get played? Is Kim Jong-un playing him the way his father played so many other presidents? It is truly amazing. And then there's the issue of the Iran deal. Going to overlap these two things. We had Emmanuel Macron from France was in the White House this week, state dinner, luncheon, the whole 9 yards. Dr. Savage attended the luncheon or the breakfast. And his job was to convince President Trump to stay in the Iran deal. And if he could, get him into the Paris Accord, back into that. And now Angela Merkel is at the White House as well, and her job is the same. She's the number 2 talking to the president about keeping him in the Iran deal. I don't know why Russia, China, Germany, and France think this Iran deal is a great deal, because it just isn't. And it's one of those things, though, that for some reason our European allies and in Russia, they want us to stay in this thing, and it's just not a good deal. We have to get out of it, but we'll see what Trump does. I think he's going to do the right thing and get us out of it. He's not going to go into the Paris Accord either. We talked about that the other day. But before we get back to your phone calls, I do want to ask you about, in reference to the Iran deal, how would leaving the Iran deal affect our relationship with, say, France and Germany? Macron and him seem to be buddy-buddy. Merkel, not so much. Her and Trump disagree on a lot. Is it going to, add some discourse? Or are they not going to deal with us on other issues if we get out of this? Or does it matter? It doesn't matter? I think it matters. I think anytime you're working on something together, it's better. But I can't see the positives in it for us or the world to be in bed with the number 1 state sponsor of terrorism, giving them $150 billion, and then they only have to keep their word till 2023. I mean, what's the sense? But before we get back to your phones, let's play Ron and Jim. Clip number 16. This is President Trump commenting on his relationship with Merkel, who he's meeting with as I speak.
It's a great honor to have Chancellor Merkel, and I will say that you can rest assured she was going to win that election, and congratulations on winning. And by the way, a formal congratulations. That's a great victory. We're working on a lot of different subjects, including trade, including NATO, including military of all types, and we have a really great relationship. And we actually have had a great relationship right from the beginning, but some people didn't understand that. But we understand it, and that's what's important. But a very extraordinary woman, and it's an honor to have you at the White House. Thank you very much, Andrea.
And there you have it. So is she going? Macron didn't seem to move the needle. Will Merkel have a chance to move the needle. I hope not. I don't think she would. And in reference to the North Korean situation, I was talking to you before, will Trump get the credit if the North Korean peninsula is denuclearized, if the whole Korean peninsula is denuclearized, excuse me? I don't think they will. CNN is already trying to spin it. I mentioned before they're giving credit to the public relations offensive by Un during the Olympics, sending his sister down there. But the curveball is that the South Koreans are giving Trump credit while talking to Christiane Amanpour. And I'm looking at Twitter, and James Woods, the actor, who is on Twitter all the time, and you really should follow him. I don't tell anybody to follow anybody, but I would recommend following James Woods because his wit and his insight into all things politics, quite frankly, are poignant, and they are also hysterical at times. And in reference to Christiane Amanpour, he puts hashtag LOL. Amanpour might have to check into a rest facility. That's in reference to his earlier post. Reagan ended the Cold War, Trump ended the Korean War, and all the Democrats got with these Crackerjacks peace prizes. Oh boy, pretty funny stuff. But anyway, I don't trust Kim Jong-un, but we're moving forward. We're going into the right direction. But I'd like to know from you, the listeners to the Savage Nation. No, we don't trust him, but is Trump getting played? Let's go to Tim, WABC, New York. Welcome to the Savage Nation. How are you? Hey, Tim.
Hey.
Okay, we seem to have lost Tim. We'll try back with him later. KFAY, Michael, welcome to the Savage Nation. How are you?
Hello.
Hello, Michael. Floor is yours.
Doing fine. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome. How can I help you?
Well, I think Kim Jong-un cannot be trusted, just like the Iranians cannot be trusted. The Iranian thing is invalid on its face because it was an agreement that was never ratified or vetted by our representatives here in the United States. So if Trump wants to get rid of it, he should, because it was null and void on the surface. But Kim Jong-un can't be trusted. His facility, he says, is destroyed, but until there's physical verification of that, I don't believe it. He probably knows his capabilities, doesn't think he needs to test anymore, and is confident that he can do whatever he wants with his nukes.
I would have to agree with you on that. Thank you very much. Do appreciate your call, Michael. 855-400-SAVAGE, just to give the number out there to those folks who may not have had. And on Iran, if anybody wants to comment on if it will affect our relationship with our allies, if Merkel fails to get Trump to stay into the Iran deal. Should we stay in the Iran deal? I don't think we should. Let's go to Matt. Matt WJHC. How are you?
Hey, good. Thanks for taking my call. I think the only reason why we should even at all entertain the idea that Kim Jong-un might be serious is because of the tremendous strength Donald Trump has exuded. I think that maybe he realizes it's the end of the rope for him, and it's either self-preservation by abiding by some things, or else he realizes that the jig is up. I think his tremendous human rights violations have just come to roost, and I think we need to thank Donald Trump, and the media really needs to get on board with backing up the tremendous strength he has given.
I think you're right, and I think the Russians and I think the Chinese, Putin and Xiaoping, have gotten the message, and they've conveyed it to Kim Jong-un. Like, hey, this is it. You know, we like this guy, we respect this guy / fear this guy. He's no Barack Obama. He's not joking. And if you keep messing with him and making these threats, you will rue the day. I do believe a conversation to that effect has taken place. All right, Matt, thank you for your call. Do appreciate it. Let's go to San Francisco. George, KSFO. Welcome to the Savage Nation. How are you? Hey, George. I'm not hearing George. Oh, he's gone. All right, listen. While we're talking about this, I do want you to play for you President Trump's comments. I'm going to play clip 17, guys. This is President Trump commenting on North Korea and talking about the two Koreas coming together and also his meeting in the future. Clip 17, please, guys.
A lot of very positive things happened over the last 24 hours. We're in total touch with both North Korea and South Korea. We'll be setting up a meeting very shortly. Hopefully we're going to have great success. We'll see what happens, but hopefully we're going to have great success. So President Moon and I are speaking, and we're speaking very much with South Korea and with North Korea. The relationships are building and building strongly, and this will be a great thing for the world. Angela and I have discussed this over the period of the last 15 months quite a bit, North Korea, the North Korean problem, and I think you're seeing that a lot of very positive things are happening.
All right, let's get back to the phones. Nathan, KBET, welcome to the Savage Nation with Lou Pate. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for holding. What's up?
Yeah, no, so I agree with the caller that was on the line with you earlier. I think Kim Jong-un is up against the wall. I think that him and his father have dealt with leaders in the past that they have known are all bark and no bite. And he knows that when Trump says we're going to annihilate you, he means we're going to annihilate you. And what alternative does he have in that scenario? He gives up everything that he has so that he could possibly shoot a missile off. I think he knows what's happening, and I think Donald Trump knows that this situation is in our favor. And that's why Mike Pompeo was there, and I think this is going to work out in the world's benefit, for sure.
I agree, and I have said from last year when he was threatening Guam and Japan and Alaska, and he was shooting off his mouth. He did not want to die. He was just trying to get attention. I keep calling him a petulant child, and it's no different than when you see a toddler throws a tantrum, throwing themselves on the floor, trying to get their parents to bend to their will. And that's what I saw going on there. And that's why initially when it was announced that Trump said he would meet with him, I was against it because I don't think you reward bad behavior. But then again, I'm not president of the United States, and he knows more than I know when it comes to intel. And so far, it seems to be working out. But one last question, Nathan, is you think Trump is going to get played?
No, I don't. I don't think Trump is going to get played. I think if there was a chance that he was going to get played, we wouldn't have sent Mike Pompeo there. It wouldn't have happened. Trump has too big of an ego to allow himself to be embarrassed like that, and it won't benefit Kim Jong-un and his regime to do that. There is nothing. The best thing that Kim Jong-un can do right now is save face and come across to the world as if he is a humanitarian, and what he is doing is something to benefit all. He has no choice. If he did, he'd still be shooting missiles off right now. He's not dealing with Barack Obama. He's not dealing with Bush. He's not dealing with Clinton. He's dealing with Trump. Trump is a parent that when he says, if you do that one more time, there's going to be consequences. And that's why we bombed Syria right now. It had nothing to do with Syria. It was showing Kim Jong-un, we're not joking around here.
And again, that was a message to China and Russia as well. Nathan, excellent points. Thanks for calling the Savage Nation from KBET. We do appreciate it. 855-400-SAVAGE. Can North Korea be trusted as a negotiating partner? I say no. What do you think? And that's based on their most recent lie. And will Trump get played? And what about the media? The corrupt media here in the United States? Will Trump get credit? Will they give credit if the North Korean peninsula is denuclearized? I don't think they will. They're not. They're already trying to spin it. Look, Kim Jong-un's a murderous dictator, and they're giving him credit for this meeting with Moon Jae-in from South Korea today. They're not even mentioning Trump, yet South Korea is mentioning Trump. And again, still on the table, unrelated, is the Iran deal, but I guess they're all kissing cousins and overlapping. And Trump's harsh language to the Iranians, which the media always criticizes, when he threatened them, should they mess around. Now Iran's Khamenei is urging Muslim nations to unite against the United States. Now, that's just like talking word salad, because to me that tells me that his meeting with Macron, now his meeting with Merkel, the harsh rhetoric aimed towards Iran earlier in the week, means Khomeini is feeling it. He's not happy about this. Rouhani was complaining as well. So what is going to go on with Iran, and how will it affect our relationship with our allies in the Middle East? Should we be in the, do you think we should stay in the Iran deal? Because if you think we should, I want to hear from you as well. 855-400-SAVAGE. Check out michaelsavage.com. Go see pictures and stories of Dr. Savage's trip to D.C. while you're there getting your latest headlines. You are listening to The Savage Nation.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. April 27th, 2018.
It's the Savage Nation. Lou Pate sitting in for Dr. Savage, who will be back on Monday. And before we continue with the conversation, I just want to let you know we're talking about Iran. We're talking about North Korea. Should Trump listen to Merkel and Macron and leave the Iran deal, stay in the Iran deal, where when America feels he should leave? And if so, will that affect our relationship with our European allies negatively? Historic day, North Korea shaking hands with South Korea. Now the big meeting with Trump and Kim Jong-un. What will happen? But before then, is Trump being played, or will he get played? And is the media going to give him credit? Lindsey Graham already said today that he should get the Nobel Peace Prize. 855-400-SAVAGE. And I also want to throw out there Chuck Schumer, in reference, kind of overlapping. Mike Pompeo, the new Secretary of State. Chuck Schumer is actually criticizing the new Secretary of State, saying that Pompeo doesn't have the right values and the right commitment to our core national principles. The man graduated number one in his class. Number one in his class from West Point. Maybe it's Chuck Schumer who doesn't have the right values and the right commitment to our core national principles. Because remember, it was Chuck Schumer who has been holding up literally hundreds of appointments by President Trump. One, most notably, Richard Grenell, just got the ambassadorship to Germany. This guy is brilliant. He's a Republican strategist. He worked with Bush. He worked with Romney. He's gay. Why is Chuck Schumer holding back a gay man moving forward as ambassador of Germany? Maybe it's Chuck Schumer's values we have to question. More when we come back here on the Savage Nation. Lou Pate here with you. 855-400-SAVAGE.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
It's the Savage Nation. Lou Pate here with you, along with Team Savage. Jim and Ron are here. Dr. Savage will be back on Monday. In the meantime, go to michaelsavage.com. Dr. Savage has posted a lot of great pictures there and some stories from his trip to Washington, D.C., and he'll continue to share those with you on Monday, as he did yesterday. So while you're there getting all of your latest headlines, check out all that fun information. There's a lot going on. We've got Iran. We've got Russia. We've got Iran, we got North Korea, but I guess it all, revolves around Russia as well. And before we move on, before we get back to your calls, I just want to enter into the fray. A while ago, a year or so ago more, I actually apologize for not remembering exactly when, we talked about a little boy by the name of Charlie Gard, little British boy, and he had mitochondrial DNA depletion syndrome. Okay, I don't expect you to remember that, but he was a little baby and he was dying. Okay, his DNA was all screwed up. His mitochondrial DNA was all screwed up. His parents wanted to take him to the United States, where housing would be provided, transportation would be provided, and medical care at some of New York's best hospitals was going to be provided. And the English government said no. They said he only has a 10% chance to live. They would not allow the parents treatment in England. They would not allow the parents to remove their only son, their own child, from the country to get treatment, which was being offered by some of the best doctors in the world in New York City. Now we have another sad story. 2 years old British infant Alfie Evans. He's captured the world's attention and imagination and hearts. He has an undisclosed neurological condition. Is it the same thing as Charlie Gard? We don't know. But we do know that whatever he has destroyed more than 70% of the white matter in his brain. Okay? It's a very sad story. Again, the parents want treatment for their son. This is, again, Great Britain. Charlie Gard was Great Britain. Alfie Evans, Great Britain. Doctors took him off life support a couple of days ago, and much to their chagrin, much to their surprise, he's still alive and breathing on his own. Now, as his father suggests, he could live for months. He could live possibly for years if treated. And the British government will not even allow that to happen. They want to take him to Italy for treatment. And if, to add insult to injury, after they removed him from the life support system and he didn't die, they didn't give this 2-year-old boy, Alfie Evans, food or water for 24 hours. So like with Charlie Gard's parents, who later, he died, rest in peace, Charlie, the parents wanted to take him away. The British government said no. Now Alfie Evans, very similar story. They want to take him to Italy. No. Alfie just won't die. The British government wants him to die. Folks, this is Obamacare. This is the future of medicine. This is the future of healthcare in the United States if you want to go down the universal healthcare single-payer road. You have government dictating to you when your child can live and your child can die. They take him off the respirator. They take him off all of the medical equipment. The poor thing, he doesn't die. And they don't feed him or give him water for 24 hours. The father says he could possibly live for months or years, precious moments that he will have with his family, and the English government is saying no. I mean, think about this. I'm throwing this story into the pile because this is about life and death. This is something that could potentially affect you. And even if it never affects you, God willing, down the road, this is a story that the whole world should know about, because this is what socialized medicine does. This is what the vermin, as Dr. Savage calls them, in D.C. want to bring to us. They don't want this type of health care. But could you imagine your child dying and you can get free assistance through generous doctors somewhere around the world, and the government will not allow you to remove your own child from the country, and then they refuse to give the child water and food for 24 hours, hoping that he dies? It's incredible. So we're going to add that in. We've got North Korea. We've got Mike Pompeo being slighted by, of all people, Chuck Schumer. We have Iran. We have North Korea, where there's so much going on. So let's get back to the phones here on the Savage Nation. It's 855-400-SAVAGE. Let's go to Russell, WABC, New York. Hey, Russell, how are you? Welcome to the Savage Nation.
Thank you, Lou. I think Trump's recklessness frightened the South Koreans into negotiating. The political will and soul showed up, and it's the South Koreans that initiated this. Kim Jong-un is not afraid of us. If you're afraid, you don't take a bold step like this. I don't think Trump even knew the announcement was coming because he was tweeting at 4:30 from the bathroom about James Comey.
How do you know he was in the bathroom?
Well, that's what he starts the day out with, his tweeting machine.
Wait. Russell, hold on. First of all, your first statement, I want you to back up. Give me an example of Trump's recklessness.
Well, when he said we're going to unleash fire and fury unlike the world's ever seen, I think it's undoubtable that you can't argue that Trump is a reckless individual.
No, hold on. Why did he make the fire and fury unlike the world has ever seen? What prompted him to make that statement?
Well, up until Trump's administration, the North Koreans did not have a nuclear missile.
You're not answering my question. What prompted him to make that statement?
Trump was afraid of the North Koreans, so he...
No, if you're going to lie, I'm going to move on, or if you don't know, I will educate you, but let's not just waste valuable time here on Dr. Savage's show. Why did Trump make that statement? This is your third strike.
Okay, he wanted to blackmail the North Koreans.
Wrong, Russell. What happened was Kim Jong-un threatened Guam, an American territory. He threatened Japan, an American ally. He threatened the state of Alaska. So don't you want our president defending us when someone's threatening to blow us up?
Well, I think what he should do is recognize that denuclearization...
Do you ever answer a question, or you just keep talking?
I was going to say that he...
Nah, thank you for your call. You're wasting everybody's time. Let's go to Helen, WABC, New York. Helen, how are you?
Oh, fine, thank you. My opinion is that President Trump is doing everything right, but this extended him by North Korea, I don't think so much as North Korea, and I don't agree with the previous caller at all. But I do believe it goes back to China convincing Kim Jong-un to extend their hand to South Korea, because a united Korea would be ideal for China, because China wanted to take over Korea during World War II, but MacArthur was pushed back and told not to go any further into China. So I think, and I remember reading a book back in 1994. It's called Thick Face, Black Heart, and it involved with us the Trans-Pacific opening for trade with us, and this understanding the Chinese and the Asian way of thinking and doing. And the one thing that always stuck out in my brain was, what is not, and what is not is. It's just, she said, do not trust what is...
No, Helen, you make some excellent points, and I do agree that China probably wouldn't want to see peace in the peninsula. I mean, a united Korea, it wouldn't be united, it would still be North and South, but a peaceful alliance between the two would help. But I don't think it's just China saying, oh, we benefit from the two of you guys getting along. I think this, my personal opinion, feel free to disagree, stems from President Trump talking to Xi Jinping, both at Mar-a-Lago and when they met at the G21 summit. I mean, you can't just dismiss President Trump and his positive relationship with the head of China, no?
I'm just saying to beware, that's all.
Oh, you always have to be. Thank you very much. Of course, cautiously optimistic. Let's head out to Dr. Savage's flagship in San Francisco, KSFO Line 5. Buck, how we doing, Buck?
Hey, Lou, great show. Listen, I'm going to say it to you straight, okay? Like every meeting of every one of these heads of states is nothing more than a dog and pony show. The man can't be trusted. We don't know the in and outs of the Iranian deal letter for letter. President Trump does. He said it was a bad deal. He knows what's best for the United States. He should stick to his guns. If the Europeans don't like it, too bad. They have a lot of profitability in these bad deals. You know, let's get on them for not paying their bills to the NATO or United Nations. As far as Kim Jong-un, I served in Korea twice, okay? They don't want a united Korea. They want that power struggle. It would be beneficial if they were like China that opened their markets and said, wow, we can be an economic superpower and he can still be in charge. He doesn't want that. He rules by thumb. He rules by hammer. And if he was any part of a man, he would turn himself into a world tribunal for crimes against humanity, because he is a criminal and a murderer. That's what I think.
That is well said. But one last thing, Buck, I want to run this by you. China and Xi Jinping, I think he's kind of tired of Kim Jong-un. He's kind of like an anchor on him. He's kind of a pain, you know. He's got to drag him around. He's his puppet master, and he has to answer for all of his bad behavior. He's welcomed into the G21. He meets with Trump. He has peace with South Korea. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's got this proverbial monkey off his back. 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. We'll take a quick break. Before we go, check out michaelsavage.com. Check out Dr. Savage's pictures and his stories from his trip to Washington, D.C. while you're there getting all of your headlines. My name is Lou Pate. You are listening to The Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
Oh, I don't think he's playing. No, I don't think he's playing. And you know, it's never gone like this. It's never gone this far. I don't think it's ever had this enthusiasm for them wanting to make a deal. And yeah, I agree. The United States has been played beautifully like a fiddle because you had a different kind of a leader. We're not going to be played, okay? We're going to hopefully make a deal. If we don't, that's fine. The United States in the past was played like a fiddle. Money going in and nobody knew what was happening the day after an arrangement was made. If you call it a deal, I doubt it, but an arrangement was made. They start with the nuclear weapons again. That's not happening to us.
Welcome back to the Savage Nation. Lou Pate here with you. How could you not love off-the-cuff Donald Trump? Come on, man. It's fantastic. So we've got North Korea. We've got Iran. We're talking Alfie Evans. We're talking Chuck Schumer, Maron, Brooklyn's own. You can have them. Criticizing Mike Pompeo. The man graduated first in this class from West Point, and Chuck Schumer says he might not have our values and principles. Let's go to WABC. Sean, welcome to the Savage Nation. Thank you for holding.
Hi, no problem. I think the effectiveness of Trump is more that we don't understand his quote rhetoric because he's speaking their language. Kim Jong-un is brought to the table because Trump uses phrases like, fury and fire. The Iranians aren't buzzing our surface vessels anymore with patrol boats because they know Trump means what he says, and that's what gets it done over there. And same thing all over the Middle East. He's speaking their language, and they get it. Our diplomacy doesn't work with them because we're not speaking to England or Germany or Putin or Australians because we speak each other's language. He's using the metaphoric, phrases like that, and they're like, wow, we got to take this guy seriously. Just like Nixon. They thought he was nuts. That's why, China opened up and Russia kind of went, whoa, what's going on? Oh, hey, Rich, So
1972, the historic trip with Richard Nixon to China opened up trade with China. He doesn't get enough credit for that. Well said, Sean, but here's the deal. Now, you have him basically saying peace through strength. That's his mantra. And, Obama would always say, oh, let's do it diplomatically. And, they would lie to him, just like Assad and Putin lied to him back in 2012 about getting rid of the chemical weapons. He believed them, and here we are, had to bomb them in 2017, have to bomb them again in 2018. Peace through strength. Basically, some people say it's tough talk that's going to get us into a war. A caller called before and said, I forget exactly, but it was the terminology he used, but he said that, Trump was not being irresponsible, but he was talking about his rhetoric and criticizing the rhetoric, but left out the fact that his fiery rhetoric came from the fact that Kim Jong-un tried to bomb. He threatened to bomb us, Sean.
Yeah, and they are not going to eat Trump's lunch. And they've been doing that for decades because our presidents and politicians worried more about poll numbers. They know that. They're not stupid. They said, if I push a little here and I push a little there, I'll get over here. Because I know the president of the United States can't say that. We think Trump's nuts. I love him, but because he says it, and they say, okay, time to fall in line.
Hey, just quickly, Sean, there at WABC, if he pulls this off and he gets him to get rid of his nukes, does he get the credit for a denuclearized Korean peninsula? CNN's already trying to spin it to Kim Jong-un. They're trying to give the murderous dictator the credit for today. Could you believe that?
No, I could believe it because that's how much the vitriol is against Trump. But to be honest, it's unavoidable. Trump would have, that's such an achievement. And since Eisenhower, you know what I mean? Like, there's no Truman. I'm going way back.
Well, and look, he's your guy. Look, I'm from the Bronx, but Schumer's from Brooklyn. And Sean, he wouldn't. Schumer is holding up hundreds of appointments, and one even being Richard Grenell. He just finally got it. A year and a half you got to wait from when you're appointed. It's nuts. It's totally just hating Trump. Okay, listen, if you're holding, please continue to hold. Right after the top of the hour break, we are going straight to your calls at 855-400-SAVAGE. My name is Lou Pate. This is the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, author of Liberalism is a Mental Disorder, Trump's War, and God, Faith, and Reason, Michael Savage.
It's the Savage Nation. Lou Pate sitting in for Dr. Savage. He will be back on Monday, and he's going to have a lot of news stories for you. But if you want to get all caught up and see pictures and read the stories from his trip this week to Washington, D.C., go to michaelsavage.com. And while you're there, get your headlines as well. 855-400-SAVAGE. We're going to get right back to the phones, but for those just joining us, we're talking about historic day, North Korea, Kim Jong-un, South Korea, Moon Jae-in, shaking hands. Is it a giant step towards peace in the Korean Peninsula? What does this mean towards the meeting of Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump? Or is Kim Jong-un playing the world? Is South Korea getting played? Will Trump get played? But let's think optimistically. Let's say he pulls it off, and we have a denuclearized Korean Peninsula. Will Trump get the credit? Well, not from the corrupt media in the United States. That much I know. We're also talking about the Iran deal. Macron was in town from France earlier in the week at the state dinner. Dr. Savage was at the breakfast or the lunch. I forget which one. And maybe both. And then now we have Angela Merkel from Germany in. Her job, like Macron, is to talk Donald Trump into staying with the Iran deal. A deal that I agree with our president is a bad deal. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Well, and if he goes, does this hurt our relationship with the allies we have in Europe? In this case, Germany and France. It's interesting to see. So we have all of that going on. When I entered into the fray, a case that is close to my heart, just as Charlie Gard was. I actually learned about Charlie Gard from the Savage Nation. Team Savage here taught me about Charlie Gard. And now they also introduced me to the Alfie Evans case. And Alfie Evans, a 2-year-old boy in Britain, like Charlie Gard was, may Charlie rest in peace. He has a disease, a very strange disease. They don't even know what it is yet. They speculate that it might be similar to Charlie Gard's mitochondrial DNA depletion syndrome, but they really don't know. What they do know is that it has destroyed more than 70% of the white matter in his brain. And now his parents want to take him, Alfie Evans, to Italy for treatment. The British government, like they did with Charlie Gard, if you remember, said no. Charlie Gard's parents had it all lined up. Some of the best doctors in the world in New York City said that they would give him free care. Hospitals were on board with it. People arranged travel care, accommodations for the parents. The British government would not let them take their own child out of Britain. Charlie Gard subsequently died. People say, well, he only had a 10% chance of living. So, it's life. 10% could lead to 100%. If you had a 10% chance of living, would you tell me, no, don't give me treatment? How would you like it if your government said you can't leave the country to go get treatment? How would you like if the government said you can't take your kid out of the country? Think about it. Doctors took Alfie off life support a few days ago, and surprisingly, he's still breathing on his own. His father wants to get him treatment. The British government saying no. This is amazing, but what this is, if you don't hear the echo of what I'm saying, this is Obamacare, folks. This is socialized medicine. That's what they have over there in the UK. This is single payer. This is universal health care. This is what Obama and our politicians, both Republican and Democrat in Washington, D.C., tried to steer us towards, okay? Now, the Republicans didn't vote for it, but they didn't exactly go fighting, kicking, and screaming on that nefarious Christmas Eve vote. So another young Brit is going to die because of socialized medicine. Add insult to injury, the doctors there did not give Alfie Evans food or water for 24 hours after they removed him from life support. He's still alive. He could live for years, his father said. Why can't these parents take their child to Italy where they can get care for him, maybe save his life or at least increase the quality of his life or maybe add years to his life? Nigel Farage is a name that you might remember because he was part of the Brexit effort. He was a driving force in that. You might remember him from being on TV, big smile. Well, he has comments on this. He was on Fox News. Let's play clip number 13. This is Nigel Farage.
Well, it's proof that the state has got too big. That's what it's absolute proof of. Here you've got, all the instruments of state, a state-run health system, a state-run court system, a state-run political system, and nobody, literally just me in British politics speaking up for these parents, everybody else cowed into silence, because if they criticize the state, everyone jumps on them. Something is going very badly wrong here.
And that is an understatement. So we're going to get to the phones. If you're talking about North Korea, we're going to get to you. If you're talking about Iran, we're going to get to you as well. Let's go to Paul at WABC, line 4. Paul, welcome to the Savage Nation.
Hi, Lou. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. Thank you for holding.
Good. Lou, thank you. Thank you for bringing up the story of little baby Alfie Evans.
I have to give credit where credit's due, and that goes to producer Jim, because he brought this to my attention,
right.
And it's producer Jim's baby there, and no pun intended, but I'm very passionate about Charlie Gard. He made me passionate about, and I'm equally as passionate about this because it's appalling.
Absolutely, because I followed the Charlie Gard story, and it broke my heart because the mainstream media was not covering it the way they should have. Anybody with a son or a daughter, a niece, a nephew, if anybody had a baby in a hospital and they were being stopped by the government, by the hospital themselves, by the staff, from getting further help that could help their child, if this doesn't outrage everybody, I don't know what can. And I just thank you for bringing up this story, because with the power of love, the power of prayer, anything can happen.
And throw in a little Western medicine, and you never know. Prayer, love, and medicine. Why do you think that the media doesn't cover this story as they ignored the Gard story as well? Very limited coverage on little Charlie Gard and his parents' plight.
Okay, because this will shed the light on what you brought up before, Lou. This will shed the light on the injustice of single-payer health care. And this is a crystal clear example for anybody to see what can happen when you're giving the government controlling your lives, your literal lives. And if this doesn't outrage everybody about a single-payer health system, as I mentioned before, I don't know what could. What I'd like to know is what Dr. Ben Carson's take would be on this whole thing. This would be interesting if we could get his take. But I'm praying to God. And plus the Pope. The Pope has intervened. They've solicited, his help. The poor parents in this case, Alfie Evans' parents. Right. They've solicited, and the Pope is there. I think he even offered a plane to go get the parents and the baby, to bring them back to Italy, for that specialist in Italy, so they can further help.
Well, I commend the Pope for his efforts, but it's the British government. They denied the Gard parents. Now Alfie Evans, the parents, and as you said, you mentioned Italy. They're not allowed to take him to Italy, as the Gard parents were not allowed to take him to the United States. It's whose child is it? It's amazing. But I can hear the passion. I can hear you're upset, but don't be upset. We'll stay on this, and we'll see where it goes. We're going to get to everybody else on this, as well as North Korea and Iran and other stuff. Thank you for your call. Let's go out to Dr. Savage's flagship in San Francisco, KSFO. Kenneth, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Savage Nation.
Hey, thanks for being on the call today. You know what? Just think about this, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. If that boy lived, the political and financial impact on the UK's financial system, they would lose politically because they fight against all that. So this is what this is about. This is about them not proving them wrong, and two, who's going to pay for it if this kid lived, right? Because it would open up Pandora's box over in the UK saying, now my child deserves better health care. And so, and it's sad that we put human life last and money first, and political first, money second, human life third. So anyway, guys, I appreciate your time. Have a great day.
All right, thank you, Kenneth. Very passionate there. Do appreciate it. And it is exactly as Kenneth says, but also I don't think they care about the life part, as Kenneth eloquently said. I mean, they, as noted, they did not, after taking him off the life support, they didn't give him food or water for 24 hours. I mean, you wouldn't do that to any living creature. It's incredible. Let's stay in San Francisco, line 2. Patricia, KSFO. We'll get a female perspective. How are you, Patricia? Welcome to the Savage Nation.
Hi, Lou. I just wanted to make mention, if Princess Diana were alive, do you think that she would intervene on this case and would have done it also for Charlie Gard?
Well, I don't like to jump in and say where people who have passed would be on a particular issue, especially 21 years after she passed. A lot of people say Martin Luther King, where would he be? How would he feel about this, that, or the other thing? But I'll tell you what, Patricia, she did get involved with a lot of causes. I don't know what she would have done, but my question is, where is Prince William? Where is Prince Harry? Where is Prince Charles? Where's the Queen on this? They could step in. They don't have political power, but they have, to legislate, but they have power. So I like to think Diana would jump in. That's an interesting analogy. She sadly is no longer with us, but her whole family is still alive. So why are they, the question is, Patricia, why are they so silent on this?
I don't know. That's why I'm saying you have Theresa May, a woman prime minister. You have Queen Elizabeth, a woman queen. I mean, I thought women were to be compassionate and love their children. I cannot believe what is going on in that country. I'm absolutely appalled by all of it. It just makes me sick. And to have the police outside of the hospital warning, if you could pass this line, I don't know if they would shoot you or what they would do. And plus now they're going to people that are online that are writing stuff, and they're warning them that you better not do this or you better not do that or you're going to pay the price. This is absolutely insane. I mean,
it is insane.
What are we living at? It's like Germany.
And this is what the Obama administration and the Democrats wanted to give us in the form of health care. This is Obamacare.
Yeah, you're right. Well, Sarah Palin, death panels.
Yeah, exactly. And they mocked her. And that's all they know how to do is mock. But, Patricia, thank you very much for your call. Do appreciate it. Let's go to line 1. Richard, KSFO. Richard, thank you for holding. How are you?
Hey, thank you. I'm all right. How are you?
I'm okay. How can I help you?
Well, I was just wondering why nobody is asking the question. Here we have a second disease that is probably the same as the first, they say. If there's 1 and 2, well, how many more are there? People not speaking up. And if that is the case, even in the least degree, it's keeping them silent for a reason. The government isn't allowing them to leave and be examined by anyone else. Perhaps it's tied to something they know of, responsible for mad cow disease, whatever. There's something that is keeping them silent. Somebody's got a little black.
Well, it is very rare. They don't know if it's mitochondrial DNA depletion syndrome, also known as MDDS, Richard. But if it is Alfie Evans, the British 2-year-old, would be the 17th person in the world, not the UK, the world, to be diagnosed with this disease. They let little Charlie Gard die. They're hoping Alfie dies. They practically tried to kill him. They disconnected him, and he breathing on his own for 3 days, and they tried to starve him to death. No food or water for 24 hours. Appalling, repugnant, disgusting. I don't know how else to describe it. We're going to take a break, 855-400-SAVAGE. We're going to get to all of your calls on all of these topics. And remember to go to michaelsavage.com. Check out Dr. Savage's great pictures and stories from his trip to Washington, D.C. while you're there getting all of your latest headlines. My name is Lou Pate. You are listening to The Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
Welcome back to the Savage Nation. Lou Pate filling in for Dr. Savage. He will be back on Monday. In the meantime, go to michaelsavage.com, see his pictures, his stories from his D.C. trip while you're there getting your latest headlines. 855-400-SAVAGE, talking Alfie Evans, the little 2-year-old in Great Britain who's being denied medical care. And we're also continuing our conversation. All topics are on the table. Iran, North Korea, the peace that's going on there, the handshake heard around the world, as I've been calling it. But I talked about Farage earlier, who's known from the Brexit. He was commenting on this whole Alfie Evans story, the boy who will not be, his parents are not allowed to take him out of the country to get care for him, much like Charlie Gard. And he, a caller question before, what is the British government afraid that if someone gets better care somewhere else, what will it do to their establishment? And in clip number 14, he comments on that. Excuse me. This is Nigel Farage.
It's almost as if the medical establishment is frightened that people going elsewhere might get better treatment. And of course, the truth is that medical science advances at different speeds in different parts of the world. We should not be denying children this kind of treatment, whether it's in Italy or as it was last year in the case of Charlie Gard, where Mike Pence and indeed President Trump got involved, treatment in the USA. But it all comes down to freedom and liberty. Are parents ultimately responsible for their children, or does the state own them? And that's what really worries me.
Well said. Let's go to line 4. Chuck, KVOA. Welcome to the Savage Nation.
Well, hi, Lou. I have a lot of familiarity with this type of issue. I'm a physician. I was a head of a large healthcare organization. It's a very complicated issue. Here's a question for you. Let's say there were no doctors willing to take care of this kid because they would say, hey, look, it's fetal care. I can't do anything for him. There's a condition called anencephaly, which occurs, I think, in about 1 in every 25,000 births, where a child is born with nothing above the brainstem.
Okay.
And these kids all die. They decided to not let one die, and he lived.
Wait, Chuck, could you hold that? I don't normally hold people over through breaks, but since you're a doctor and we're talking this, can you hold through the break, please?
Yeah.
All right, hold that thought. Lou Pate here with you. This is the Savage Nation, talking Alfie Evans, talking North Korea, talking Iran. We're going to get to all your calls. 855-400-SAVAGE. This is the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282.
It's the Savage Nation. Lou Pate with you, along with Team Savage. Dr. Savage will be back on Monday. In the meantime, go to michaelsavage.com. You will not be disappointed. Not only will be updated on all your news and headlines, you get to see pictures from Dr. Savage's trip and read stories about his trip to Washington, D.C. Talking Alfie Evans, talking socialized medicine, a young boy, 2 years old, his parents being denied the right to save his life, or at least attempt to try to save his life. It's an echo of the sad Charlie Gard story from just a year and a half ago or so. But let's get back to the phones. We were talking KVOA. Chuck, hey, Chuck, how we doing?
Lou. Good. Look, no, I don't want to go into my background, but I've been involved with issues like this for over 30 years.
So you're basically saying we should let the babies die.
It's a complex issue.
I understand, but you're basically saying let them die.
No, I'm not saying anything. You didn't listen to what I had to say.
Yes, I did. We're short on time, but you were saying before, 1 in 25,000 are born with, you referenced the disease. I don't remember the name of it. And you said, what if there's no doctors who wanted to treat them? To me, that says you want to let them die.
So how much money, not how much you have. First of all, can you find a doctor other than in Italy? And I don't know why. This was at a Catholic hospital in Rome.
Right.
That they're willing to do it. I don't know what doctor would say that he has any chance of doing anything for this kid.
They're not saying that, but what they're saying is they're going to try. Isn't the life worth saving?
Of course it is, but there are 100. I saw a 100-year-old a woman operated on before cataract surgery for a brain tumor.
Chuck, this is a 2-year-old.
There's a point, the fact that...
Chuck, this is a 2-year-old. You're going to compare it to a 90-something-year-old woman? I'm not saying she should die either, but come on, you can't compare the two.
This way. Let's put it this way. That 90-year-old or 100-year-old, she was 100, had more of a life expectancy than this kid.
So he should be allowed to die because of maybe? Charlie Gard had 10% chance to live. So what? What if I told you had a 10% chance to live? You going to pull the plug?
No.
Okay, there we go. Thanks for your call. I think that sums it right up right there. 855-400-SAVAGE. Oh, you got a 10% chance to live. No, save me. He's got a 10% chance to live. Little Charlie and Alfie. No. Come on. The life expectancy. What is it? Oh, my gosh. I can't believe that. I thought he would at least fib. Roxanne in San Francisco, line 1, KSFO. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for taking my call, and I have a statement and a question. Which do you want first?
Let's go with the question.
Well,
all right, then let's move on from that to see what else you had to say. Let's go to Brad, KFAY. Hey, Brad, how we doing? He's gone too. All right, maybe these guys are hitting bad cell zones. 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-SAVAGE. Lou Pate here with you. Okay, we were talking about Alfie Evans, but I didn't forget about our folks who wanted to talk about the historic day with North Korea and South Korea. Moon Jae-in, Kim Jong-un shaking hands over the DMZ. Pretty amazing. Just think a few months ago, okay, a soldier ran from the North Korean side, and his own soldiers shot him up 6 times. Now, less than a year later, the two leaders are shaking hands as a scheduled meeting between the President of the United States and Kim Jong-un looms. I mean, that's pretty amazing. So think about that. Andrew, KSFO. Andrew, welcome to the Savage Nation. How are you?
Good morning. Yeah, I think Trump definitely gets the credit for getting the meeting to this point. I mean, he put the screws to China. China puts the screws to North Korea. But just look at what's going on around the world. Before Trump, ISIS and the Middle East brethren over there were cutting heads off and torturing everybody every other day on YouTube. Now you don't hear a peep out of them. My guess is he had our guys bomb the bejesus out of him or bomb Jesus into him, however you want to take it. He's out there slapping European leaders like it's the thing to do, exposing them for the weenies they are. Look at Trudeau, our Canadian Prime Minister up there in North.
Trudeau's a fool.
Like a soy boy, okay? Our southern neighbors are sitting up.
All right, no, we don't have to go all around the map. I understand. Thanks for your call. We put the screws to him, and that's what happens. They know Trump is serious. They knew Obama was not. Gidget, WABC, New York. Welcome to the Savage Nation. Hey, Gidget, how we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How can I help you?
Well, I was, I guess, put over to your office because I heard that you guys were going to be doing some stuff on Alfie Evans.
Yes.
We're not live on the radio now, are we?
Yes, you are live.
Oh, I am live. Okay.
You are on the Savage Nation, which is Dr. Michael Savage.
Okay. Yeah, I was reaching out. I've been involved in the Alfie case for over a year now, and I just want to thank you guys so much for stepping up and giving little Alfie a voice.
Okay, and then I want to make sure. My name is Lou Pate. Dr. Savage, this is his show. I'm just filling in today, and he'll be back on Monday. But how were you involved in the case, Gidget?
Well, about a year ago, I heard about Alfie's case that he was looking for a hospital. And I stepped up here in America and said, not on my watch. I'm not going to see another Charlie Gard. And I offered to help the family find a hospital here in the United States. And in which case we did come up with several hospitals that were willing to take Alfie into their care. However,
in New York or just the United States?
No, I actually live in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Oh, okay. All right. So the hospitals were in Salt Lake?
Nope. We had a couple hospitals across the United States that were willing to accept Alfie into his care.
Okay. And when was this?
Well, we started back in the summertime, and we finally decided to go with the Bambino Hospital in Italy because they were within what's called EU, and because that...
Gidget, I'm sorry, because we have the constraints of time, and I apologize for that, but if you could kind of just fast forward. I hope I'm not being rude, but I want you to get everything in that's necessary before we run out of time. I apologize.
You're fine. So we decided to try to go with the European hospital because it was closer to family, and the hospital also offered 100% free care.
And then what happened?
Well, right when we got him to go to the hospital, we ended up having a situation to where the hospital took us to court to remove the ventilator.
And this was, which hospital in Great Britain was this?
It's the Alder Hayes Children's Hospital that took us to court to remove the parental rights. They were insistent that the ventilator should be shut off rather than transfer the child to the hospital that was willing to take him.
And then this is when then he continued to breathe on his own for 3 days, as I mentioned earlier. And I also that they did not give him food and water for 24 hours after that.
This is correct. This is a standard care that you will see, which has been an eye-opener for me, that this palliative care under socialized medicine, they will oftentimes remove hydration and nutrition and their medications as part of palliative care so that it speeds up the death.
So they're basically trying to kill them.
Basically, it's orchestrated to that extent in a lot of ways, yes.
Now, Gidget, what is your organization? Can you tell me? Is there a website?
I am not with a website. I was a part of Alfie's army.
Okay.
Helping just as an individual, and became close to the family, and very much love the family. They're fantastic people.
Well, I'd tell you, when we're done with your call, don't hang up, because I want to get your information, and hopefully you can put us in touch with the family. And if they're willing, we know they're going through a lot. If they want to share their story here on the Savage Nation, we would definitely like to consider that.
Absolutely. I would be fine with putting you in touch with someone.
Okay, so after we're done, we're not done yet. Don't hang up, and our team will take your information. So now, what is the excuse of the British government when it comes to Charlie Gard, when it comes to Alfie Evans, that they will not let the parents of their own child seek help in Italy, or with Charlie Gard, it was in the United States? What's the excuse?
Well, unfortunately, it's written into the laws, and the laws are their biggest hang-up right now. They have chosen socialized medicine, and the socialized medicine programs are basically making these decisions, based, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, but based off of your bottom line, if you will, the number of how much it's going to cost to take care of this person over an amount of time, and whether they can contribute back. And
but now, where is the humanity? I mean, I feel bad, that maybe I'm a softie. I don't know. I feel bad. I see a dead squirrel in the street and I was hit by a car. How can people sit there and watch a child who may have a chance to live just die because it's written on the books, where in Gard's case, the family Gard, they had people waiting in the United States. In this case, with your help as part of Alfie's army, which I commend you for, they can go to Italy, and it might not work, but it just might. I mean, when did the sanctity of life become a throwaway like a DVD player?
That's a good question. I think the thing that we have to worry about as a society is whether we're taking morality out of medical care. They're making laws to break laws, if you think about it. I mean, it's as disgusting as it is, that's what's happening here. The United Kingdom has started making laws that go against, humanitarian laws that we sign in the United Nations.
I mean, are there, in the hospital there, are there priests? Are there nuns from different denominations? I mean, how does this go over with them?
Well, at this point, what we have seen is that the Pope, of course, as you well know, came to Thomas and asked, right, and stood up for Alfie and said that he would love to take Alfie into the Vatican there at the Bambino Gesù Hospital. And the problem is that many priests in the UK, in my opinion, are fearful to step up for what is right. There was one priest who just recently did step up, and my understanding is that he was recalled from the hospital as the priest and is being sent somewhere else for standing up for Alfie. So I think... So
you stand up for life, you get transferred and or fired.
Exactly. And
unbelievable.
We're seeing with a lot of people at the hospital. We've had people who've come to us and spoken to us, but they're scared to come forward because they've got families. They're afraid that they're fighting their government. They're afraid that people are being riddled by fear not to stand up to, or not to be able to stand up, if you will. They're being suppressed from being able to do anything about it. And this is what I've clearly seen since I've been involved for the past year.
So now, is there? Someone said that there's guards. A caller from San Francisco said that there's police officers outside the hospital just in case there's an altercation. Can you confirm that?
I can absolutely confirm it, yes. They had about 23 police officers in front of the door. When Thomas relieved duty of care of the hospital to transfer his son out of there so that they didn't murder him, they had about 6 police officers on the unit blocking him from being able to leave with his child, and the medical team. We had a qualified medical team and 2 doctors there to transfer.
Hold that thought there, Gidget. Hold it. Don't hang up. Don't go away because I have to take a commercial break. My name is Lou Pate. This is the Savage Nation. Dr. Savage will be back on Monday. Go to the website, michaelsavage.com. Check out Dr. Savage's pictures and his stories from his trip to Washington, D.C. while you're there getting all of your headlines. This is unbelievable. You are listening to the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
Welcome back to the Savage Nation. Lou Pate in for Dr. Savage. He will be back on Monday as we make our way towards the top of the hour. Let's get to Norman WJJF. Welcome to the Savage Nation. How are you?
Very good, Lou. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for holding. I know you've been there for a spell. I appreciate and respect your time.
Yes, listen, the reason I'm calling is that I wanted to talk a little bit about, I'll make it brief, North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Friend of mine that was on the negotiating team in 1994 on behalf of President Clinton, and he was one of the guys that brought $400 million up to North Korea to hopefully coerce them into stopping their nuclear program, which we know worked real well.
Right.
Where the money went, but they either put that money into their nuclear program or possibly continued their nuclear program and possibly fed their population. I don't know. But I just wanted to say that, like you said, cautious optimism. During their negotiations, when things went a little awry or straight off the topic, the North Koreans would get up and start pounding the table, a la Nikita Khrushchev, if you can remember his behavior in the past, and come up with proverbs, North Korean proverbs. And my interpretation's not quite accurate, but it was along the lines of, may the flames of 1,000 dogs burn your soul. So all I can say is I hope they have a better own than they did with his dad, Il.
Hey, just quickly, Norman, do you think there's a possibility that President Trump can be played? I don't think he can. I don't think he will.
No. I mean, for the past 8 years, I mean, we've had to deal with a gutless, spineless representative as a president. And I think that Obama not only was unpatriotic, but I consider him a traitor for what he's done to this country. And Trump has put down a much, much different protocol to the world, and it works.
He definitely laid down the law. Hey, listen, you enjoy the fishing out there in Montauk, huh? I'm a little jealous, I have to say, as the weather gets warmer. But thank you for your call. Do appreciate it. WJJF, one of Dr. Savage's affiliates, Eastern Long Island. Hey, as we make our way to the top of the hour, special thanks to Jim. Special thanks to Ron. They are Team Savage. Now you know their names. They work hard before, during, and after the show. My name is Lou Pate. Dr. Savage will be back on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. This is the Savage Nation.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.